A room can be full of people, and yet something feels unsettled. Nothing visible has broken. No conflict has occurred. No disruption can be named. And still, something in the atmosphere is no longer clean. As if too many unfinished movements are occupying the same space. Words that were spoken but never fully released. Intentions that never completed their arc. Thoughts that remained slightly held back in the body. And slowly, the air begins to carry them, not as sound, but as density. Most assume order is created through action, through more dialogue, more correction, more explanation, as if clarity could be forced by increasing the noise around confusion. But there are moments when life restores itself through the opposite movement, not addition, withdrawal, silence. Not the silence of absence or avoidance, not silence as escape, but the silence that arrives when unnecessary movement ceases. It is not produced, it reveals itself. Like a shift in gravity no one announces, yet everyone feels. A lake becomes clear when it is no longer disturbed. Not because anything is removed, but because agitation has stopped. A forest returns to its dignity when the wind passes, not because it is repaired, but because nothing is being forced into form. And the sky does not negotiate its openness. It simply remains what it is when interruption falls away. There are states within us that cannot be reached through interpretation. They do not respond to analysis. They reorganize only when interference stops. Not through effort, but through stillness. And yet, stillness is often mistaken for emptiness, when in truth, it is the absence of distortion, not the absence of structure. What remains when disturbance falls away is not void. It is coherence without pressure. And this is why certain answers do not arrive when pursued, because pursuit carries its own subtle contraction, a tightening around what is not yet known, a shaping of urgency around something that has not yet formed. And in that urgency, clarity is already obscured. So it is not that answers are distant. It is that they require a different condition to appear. Not intensity, but release. Not pursuit, but cessation of interference. And in that cessation, something quietly reorganizes itself, not as an event, but as recognition, that what was being searched for was never absent, only obscured by movement that did not need to continue. Silence, then, is not a state of emptiness. It is the return of order without effort. The moment when what is essential no longer has to compete with what is unnecessary. And yet, there are thresholds where understanding reaches its edge, where something is felt clearly enough to be recognized, but not yet fully entered. A place where clarity begins, but does not complete itself. And perhaps that is where most people stop, not because nothing is known, but because not everything has been revealed. And what remains is the question of whether one is willing to move beyond recognition alone.